Now, we all love college football, but it has its issues. The games are too long. The conferences don't make sense. The scheduling is a disaster. I mean, did you see Mercer University's 2017 schedule? It's all on the road against SEC teams. The recruiting rules are stupid, and the uniforms are a mess. So yeah, there's a lot to fix. If I was named the Supreme Commissioner of College Football and had unlimited power, here are 5 major things I'd do to make the sport better. First, the games are too long. The biggest games are going up to 3.5 to 4 hours plus. The solution? Just go by NFL rules. Halftime is 12 minutes, period. Marching bands can play before and or after the game. We're not stopping the clock on first downs. NFL games on average are much shorter than big-time college games, clocking in at just over 3 hours. So adopt all the NFL rules and there will also be less confusion. Second, the conferences don't make sense. The Big 10 has 14 teams. The Big 12 has 10 teams. And what the hell is West Virginia doing in the Big 12, flying out to Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas? I'm balancing every conference out. Each conference will have the same amount of teams, same amount of conference games, and will be aligned by region. As a result, I will turn the Power 5 into the Power 7. Each Power 7 conference with 10 teams and all play 9 conference games. Here they are. The Big 10 returns to its roots of, 10 teams. The original 10 teams. Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Michigan, Michigan State, Minnesota, Northwestern, Ohio State, Purdue, and Wisconsin. Except, as you can see, I'm calling it the Big 10 East. That's because I'm renaming the Big 12 the Big 10 West, which will include the original Big 8, Colorado, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Missouri, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, plus newcomers BYU and Utah. Because again, my Power 7 conferences all have 10 teams playing 9 conference games. You play everybody in your conference. As you might have been able to guess, the Pac-12 once again becomes the Pac-10, with Arizona, Arizona State, Cal, Oregon, Oregon State, Stanford, UCLA, USC, Washington, and Washington State. Another conference that I downsized to its original 10, the Southeastern Conference. Alabama, Auburn, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, LSU, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Vanderbilt. Let's stay in the southeast region of the country. Here's my newly aligned Atlantic Coast Conference. Clemson, Duke, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Miami, North Carolina, NC State, South Carolina, Virginia, and Wake Forest. And for the Northeast region, I'm bringing back Big East football with Boston College, Louisville, Maryland, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Rutgers, Syracuse, Temple, Virginia Tech, and West Virginia. West Virginia, back in its backyard brawl. Now that makes sense. That leaves me with one more conference in my Power 7. We're bringing back the Southwest Conference. And we'll keep our eye on it. Arkansas, Baylor, Houston, Memphis, Rice, SMU, TCU, Texas, Texas A&M, and Texas Tech. Rice? SMU? Memphis? I know, but really think about it. Purdue, Northwestern, Duke, Vanderbilt, Wake Forest, none of them are going to win the national title either. Remember, each Power 7 conference has to have 10 teams, and they play every team in their conference. Now, I'm not going to force every major program to stay within their own region. That's where your non-conference schedule comes into play, and teams will no longer be scheduling their own conference games. Have mercy on Mercer. No more picking your own schedules. Follow along with me on this. We're going to do something similar to how the NFL aligns each team's non-divisional games within their own conference based on the previous year's results. For example, the San Francisco 49ers finished last in the NFC West in 2016. So on their 2017 schedule, they draw all the other last place teams within the NFC, the Carolina Panthers, Chicago Bears, and Philadelphia Eagles. Or, say you're the Seattle Seahawks and you finished first in the NFC West. You draw the first place finishers in the other NFC divisions, which would be the Atlanta Falcons, Dallas Cowboys, and Green Bay Packers. Here's how my college football non-conference scheduling will be similar. 2 of your 3 non-conference games will be against teams from the other Power 7 conferences who finished in the same standing position as you. We will rotate which conferences play each other every year, So for example, let's say the Big Ten East and Pac-10 are scheduled to play each other this year. Align the 2016 standings next to each other, and here are your 2017 matchups. Ohio State versus Washington, Michigan versus USC, Wisconsin versus Washington State, and so on. Again, we will rotate which conferences play each other every year. So, in 2017, the Big Ten East could play those Pac-10 teams on the road, and then we'll say the Big Ten West at home. Then, in 2018, the Big Ten East could play the SEC at home and the ACC on the road, and so on. But to make this rotation work, we need to make the Power 7 an even 8, so we will add non-Power 7 teams to the mix and match them based on where they finished in national rankings. So, in 2016, the non-Power 7 finished in the national rankings like this: Western Michigan, South Florida, San Diego State, Western Kentucky, Tulsa, Boise State Air Force, Appalachian State, Louisiana Tech, and Troy. So if the Big Ten East was matched up with the non-Power 7, here's how it would look: Ohio State versus Western Michigan, Michigan versus South Florida, Wisconsin versus San Diego State, and so on. How much more interesting are these non-conference games? It's not even close. And your third non-conference game will be used to preserve traditional non-conference rivalries. For example, Michigan versus Notre Dame, USC versus Notre Dame, Stanford versus Notre Dame, Michigan State versus Notre Dame, Purdue versus Notre Dame, and so on. Yes, I'll keep Notre Dame as an independent. Don't worry if you don't have a traditional non-conference rival, I'll pick one for you. And no, Ohio State, it won't be Ohio, Bowling Green, or Youngstown State. Sorry. Now for the postseason. No more conference championship games. They're gone. There's no more need for them, because again, you play everybody within your own conference. Instead, the college football playoff will expand to 8, and the first round will take place on that final weekend of the season on college campuses. The second round will take place on New Year's Day, with the venues rotating between the New Year's 6 bowl games: Rose, Fiesta, Cotton, Sugar, Peach, and Orange Bowls. The final round, or national championship game, will take place at another neutral site a week or so later. Participants in the playoff will be selected by a playoff committee, much like they do now, except my committee will consist of media members who live and breathe this stuff. Colin Cowherd, Clay Travis, Joel Klatt, Las Vegas Oddsmakers, and so on. Anyone else? Take someone out? Let me know in the comments. Okay, so I fixed the scheduling, the conferences, the long game times. Let's talk recruiting. I will allow players getting paid by anyone for their service, with cash, meals, cars, pussy, whatever, VFD. I will no longer allow the NCAA to force the poor to remain poor. If a multi-millionaire alum wants to pay 5-star players 6 figures to play at his alma mater, by golly, let him do it. If a coach wants to buy a guy dinner, so what? If an attractive lady wants to spread her legs for the sake of the university's football team, bless her heart. These guys more than make that money back. I am a capitalist, and I am all about freedom. Every adult should be out there trying to market their talents, period. And one more thing, because I'm huge into uniforms, teams will be required to wear only their school colors. I will outlaw all blackouts, whiteouts, and grayouts. Shiny objects, weird number fonts, tribal markings, and mountain ranges will not be allowed on any part of any team's uniforms. Specifically, Florida State and Arizona State, who had my 2 favorite looks in all of college football, will be required to change back to their classic logos and uniforms. And there you have it. I've fixed college football. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, be sure to subscribe as I'll be doing more videos like these. Alright, I'm gonna go do some more daydreaming later.